So today I want to continue talking about using treats in training. As I've mentioned before, I use treats in training. I find it very useful. It's a dog's payday. The other thing that I use in training is a clicker. I find a clicker a wonderful way of training my dogs. However, it's not the best of training tools for many people because they cannot get the timing right. Timing is crucial when using a clicker. The clicker marks the behavior that the dog is doing. So if a dog sits, click immediately, then you can get the treat out, give it to reward the behavior. The problem arises when somebody says sit, the dog sits, and then of course they fiddle around, dog moves, and then they click, and now they're getting clicked for moving, doing the different behavior. So timing is all important. The other problem that people have is they have not enough hands. And what I mean by that is they've got their clicker, they've got the treats nearby, some of them are holding their cell phone, and they just can't get this timing right. And that is why I get so many people phoning me when they want to come to training and say, oh, I've been doing some clicker, but I don't like it, I don't want to do it anymore. Do you do clicker in your classes? Well, actually, no, I don't do clicker in the classes. The reason being that people can't get the timing right. And if you've got 5 people going click, 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 all at the wrong time, it gets a bit hectic. If people want clicker training, I do one-on-one with them, especially to get the timing right. If you want to use a clicker, practice without the dog so that you're going to get that timing right. You click, then you can get your treat and reward the dog. So I love a clicker, but not everybody likes a clicker, and that's absolutely fine. You can still use treats in training. So now we get the problem of we're using treats, the dog does something right, it gets a reward, does something right, gets a reward. Another problem arises when the dog is still getting a treat for basic behavior. When a dog is still getting rewarded many months, maybe even years down the line for doing a sit, sorry, that is not acceptable. I get many people who say, oh, my dog won't do that move because it's waiting for the treat. The dog has got to learn that eventually it's got to do it without the treat. So it's a bit like a jackpot. Once the dog has learnt the behavior, you then can give it a pat one day. You can give it praise. It doesn't need to have a treat every single time you're telling it to do something. The worst is people who say to me, oh, my dog won't sit, or the more that I get is, oh, my dog won't down unless I have a treat. You've got to get that dog to understand it goes down, then it gets the treat from you. So I don't want to hear people saying many years down the line, oh, my dog still needs treats for a basic behavior. To me, a dog will get more treats when it's learning a new behavior. Then you start extinguishing treats from behaviors that have been learnt or are basic behaviors. So when you're teaching something really new, lots of behavior and quite a lot of reinforcement treats. So dog does something right, reinforce, reinforce, reinforce with say 3 treats. But for basic behaviors, a dog should not be getting treats when it's doing a sit or a down. These are basic behaviors. So learn to teach your dog to do behaviors, and they can get a verbal reward. And for the more difficult behaviors, they will be getting the treats. Then I won't have people saying to me, but my dog only does things for treats. A dog has got to learn to work, not always with treats, but they know that they will get a reward. I call it a jackpot. You can do several moves, then give the dog a treat. And then some more moves, and randomly, when you feel like it, give the dog a treat. So it gets the treat, but it's not quite sure when it's going to get it. Then you will have successful training using treats. So have a look at your training methods. Are you delivering the treat in time? If you are a clicker person, are you getting the click in time? If you're not a clicker person, when are you delivering the treats? Are you giving them cleanly? You're not dropping them on the floor all the time, so the dog has to bend down and pick them up. The delivery of the treat is just as important as a click or a verbal praise. The dog's got to know that when it does something right, it'll get the reward or it'll get a praise. When it's now learnt that behavior, verbal praise and a pat is just as good as a treat.